Right. Well, hello to anyone who is here. I hope you're all doing alright. Hello to Nick Studios YT, Enigmatic Joker, and Kane Smith. I hope you're all doing well on this fine. Is it? Is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday afternoon. I hope you're all doing okay. This is a more impromptu stream, but I thought I just had a couple of thoughts recently, and I wanted to get them off my chest more than anything. So if you are in the stream, be sure to give it a like, just so I know that you are here. Hello to King Creator as well. Hello to Dino Posting Stuff, Dylan, Scaronium Hunter, Brixton. How are you all doing today? Let's just start off with that. How are you all doing today? I hope you're all doing okay. Let me know what's going on before we get into the big stuff, because I got a couple of things I want to talk about really that have just been floating around my little noggin box that I wanted to get off my chest. And I thought, you know what, it's quiet. I thought now would be the perfect time to do it. Oh, good for you, King Creator. Yeah, mine obviously recently didn't make it out, but yeah, good for you. I'm not doing too bad actually. Um, I'm not doing too bad at all. I'm just yeah. This was a bit more of a sort of impromptu thing that I just sort of decided to do because I just wanted to get some thoughts out there. If you could do me a favor, and obviously like the stream if you haven't already, and if you could share it around, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Um, I'm doing fine. Haven't you noticed that Canadian Critic has been offline since March? Canadian Critic. I'm not sure I'm aware of Canadian Critic. You'll have to remind me in case I've forgotten somebody. Hello, hi Tharius, was watching A Good Place when I saw this. Fair enough. Well, I'm glad you decided to tune in anyway. Do you think the 13th Doctor's era was good? I'm not the biggest fan, being honest, but you know, I'm happy for the people who do like it. I'm just not one of its biggest fans myself, but as I said, I have, if you like it, that's great. I guess that's what I was trying to get across, I suppose. But yeah, I suppose we've got plenty of people in here. Let's get into the main. William who streamed Crash just yet. Wait, what was that? I saw that he was streaming last night. He's not streaming now, is he? Because I wouldn't have meant to deliberately cross streams or anything. So I hope I'm not treading on anyone's toes there. But yeah, I'll just get into what I wanted to talk about. So if you follow me on Twitter, this is the part of the stream where I ask you to follow me on Twitter. You'll have noticed that I mentioned that I'm kind of dreading the announcement of the 14th Doctor. And the reason for that is that whatever the result may be, Twitter is going to be, like, not even just Twitter, but the entire fan base is going to be just a war zone completely. Because if they cast a man, you'll have one side congratulating themselves, saying, oh yeah, inclusion doesn't work, let's go back to, normal, in quotation marks. And then you'll have one other side that'll, basically berate this person, saying that, oh, what could you possibly add to the role, like we saw with John Bishop. And then if it's a woman again, you'll have the NMD saying that they've learned nothing and that, everything's just going to stay the same. And then you'll have one other side saying that, I guess, just anyone who's got, they'll say that they love her automatically without even having seen anything from her, because that's what happened with Jodie. I remember there being people who were saying that she was their favourite before they'd even seen like a frame of her on screen. So I'm kind of just dreading the inevitable fallout that's going to happen, because the thing is, I feel like over the course of this era, the fan base has just gotten progressively worse, and I'm really worried that, the next Doctor reveal will be just be the straw to break the camel's back, if you know what I mean. It'll just be that one thing that just tips everyone over the edge. I don't mean to be cynical, but I just get the feeling that it's not going to go over well. Do you think Captain Jack will return? I think there's a good chance. I did a recent video talking about that leak, well, not even a leak, but the BBC releasing a book that ties in with episode 2. And the fact that they deleted that, like, article thread shortly afterwards kind of makes me suspect that he will have a sort of some part to play in the proceedings of Series 13. So yeah, I think so. Um, Dude, we need a ginger doctor. I wouldn't mind, honestly. I think partly, though, I wouldn't want the jokes. The thing is, because the joke's been so long running, I kind of want them to. I guess I think the only way you could pay it off is that if he was actually really disappointed, I think that would just be quite a funny joke. But it could be a man or a woman or a chicken. If the writing is better, I won't care. Yeah, that's another thing as well. I feel like how much can it realistically get better with Chibnall at the helm? That's an issue as well. But I just worry that, like, you say, you don't care if it's a man, woman, or chicken. There definitely will be people who'll, care about that, and unfortunately, those people are the loudest people, right now at least. And I just worry that it's just going to all kick off. Do you think Torchwood will return? The thing is, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really think the show is at such a point of popularity where bringing back a spin-off would be a viable thing. And that's not me trying to insult the current era or any other like part of Doctor Who. I just feel like it's not really at the cultural place that it was back in like the RTD era, because the RTD era it was everywhere, and now it just doesn't feel like it is. It feels much more like a cult thing again, and I just don't think it's at a level of popularity where resurrecting a spin-off would make sense. That being said, Torchwood is still very popular, and even outside of Doctor Who. So I mean, Greg Davis would be a good Doctor. I don't really. Here's the thing: a lot of people, they ask me all the time, who would you pick for 14? And I don't mind too much. Actually, I do have one idea which I'd like to get off my chest, but I'll see if I can get. Maybe I could get an image on screen. Basically, I don't know whether any of you guys watched this, but there is a show called The Great, and it actually has Sacha Dhawan in it, who ended up playing the Master. And it's basically a exaggerated fictional historical like retelling of the Empress of Russia, and Sacha Dhawan played her like advisor called Orlo, and in that show there's like the king in that show, or like the emperor in that show, who's married to the empress who she wants to kill off. And I think actually the king in that show, or the emperor, has great comedic chops, and I actually think he'd do quite a good job as the doctor. I don't know what his name is. Let me have a look. I'll have a quick Google for you so I can get that idea off my chest. The Great. Yeah, but that show's quite good. I'd recommend The Great if you haven't watched it. I know it's on. I mean, I watched it on a sort of not legal place, because for some reason it was blocking it off, because it was on all four, but for some reason like it had an age restriction on it, which is really strange, because I've never used it. But anyway, let me have a look at the cast for this. Cast. Nicholas Hoult. Yeah, I think he'd be quite good. I can see a sort of doctory vibe with him. I think he has the look, and that's a weird thing to sort of. And he's definitely got the comedic chops for it, but he can be quite dark in The Great as well. So I think I haven't seen him in much else. What else has he been in? But yeah, Nicholas Hoult would be my choice for the 14th Doctor, I think, because he's a realistic choice as well. Because obviously Sacha Dhawan was from that show as well, and he's now the Master, so I think, yeah, logically, he'd be a good choice. TARDIS is a pirate confirmed, yar. Yeah, I mean, isn't everyone at least once? I feel like everyone does it at least. I'm not condoning it, but, like, come on, everyone does it. I think, someone mentioned Richard Ayoade there. I think for me, like, Richard Ayoade is kind of, like, everyone's choice, and I feel like he'd be good at, like, I think a lot of people pick him because he's like a funny geek type character, but I feel like there is more to the Doctor than just that. So yeah, so I'll see if I can get a picture up of Nicholas Hoult on screen. Actually, give me a minute. I'll have to make my window capture bigger, because this was quite an impromptu stream. I just sort of decided to go live for the hell of it, because I haven't really edit anything today, because I've been working really hard on channel stuff. I mean, I've been grinding a lot. So let me make this a bit bigger. and let me make you a bit bigger, and then make you there, and then boo boo boo. Like that, and then like that. I can't get it right. That's annoying. Why is it like that? Alright, well, look, you can sort of see it like that. If I just go like this. Again, with Benedict Cumberbatch, he's kind of like what everyone picks, isn't he? I don't think he would be bad. Also, I do kind of think that he's too big for it now. Personally. Sorry about that. I just had to get my stream sorted out. That's the wrong one. Ugh. Bollocks. This is a nightmare. I never have this much of an issue. It's because I'm very sensitive with my hands. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I do apologise. Yeah, I do think Benedict Cumberbatch is a little bit too big for it now. Right, this is Nicholas Hoult. I don't know whether you can see him here. Let's actually see what he's done. Other than, because I've only seen him in The Great. But you can see that. I think he's got the doctory vibe. He gives me that, like, I could see him in the role, I guess. You know, I think he'd be a very sort of David Tennant, Matt Smith-esque Doctor. Let's see what he's done. And, like, I haven't seen him in that much, so I don't think he'd be too big, necessarily. Okay, so he's been in a couple of films, X-Men Days of Future Past. I think they're more supporting roles, but, and Mad Max Fury Road, but that's him in The Great there. I think he's just got the comedic chops, definitely, and I think, yeah, like in this picture here, I could see it. Like, he would give me vibes of, like, a 10th Doctor, or an 11th Doctor, or an 8th Doctor, maybe. Especially in that outfit. I could definitely see, Nicholas Hoult doing it, actually. Oh, is he the Beast from X-Men? Okay. I wasn't... I knew that it said on IMDb that he was in the X-Men, but I wasn't sure who he played. But yeah, there we go. So it's the Beast from X-Men. I think he'd be quite good. He's my choice, and I think he could do it, realistically. Because people, you know... I don't think he's too big, because we got Peter Capaldi, and Peter Capaldi's quite big over here. Nick Hoult is quite big, but I don't think he's big, but I don't think he's too big he's not like Benedict Cumberbatch, where he's got main character status in, like, Sherlock and the MCU and stuff. He's a bit more obscure than that, so I feel like he would just about, you know, be small enough to the point where Doctor Who would be a viable option, but big enough to the point where I think people would be excited for him, I guess. Tharis, have you seen the Sarah Jane Adventures class or Torchwood? I grew up with Sarah Jane Adventures, haven't really seen Torchwood, and watched one episode of class and gave up. So I hope that answers your question. Do you think the BBC screwed Modern Who by the obsession with Tennant? I think they shouldn't be relying on it so much. Certainly, I think it's kind of telling, I think, that they're relying on the Doctor from 10 years ago to sort of carry the brand. And I don't think it's a sign that the brand's in a healthy place, personally, that they have to rely on him so heavily. But I can see why they do it, but I do think that it's not a great sign, admittedly. I'll have a look at some of your choices, actually. Olivia Rodrigo. I'll have a look at her. What's she done? Olivia Rodrigo. Rodrigo. Let's have a look. What's she been in? IMDb. Okay, High School Musical. And that's about it. I haven't really seen her in anything, so I can't say. I mean, the only thing I've seen her in is that High School Musical. But then she's like, oh god, she's only a couple months older than me. Yeah, no, she's too young for that. No, she's too young, I would say, definitely too young. Let's see some of your choices. Hello to Hula Man, I hope you're still here. Hello to you, how are you doing? Matthew Bainton, let's have a look at Matthew Bainton. It's interesting, actually, talking about who you guys would pick for the 14th Doctor. Because, you know, I think we've all got different ideas, haven't we? Like, to be honest, I wouldn't mind Joe Martin, but I don't feel like the BBC will do it, because they like the 14th Doctor to be a surprise. Oh, so he's the guy from Horrible Histories. Okay, yeah, he's definitely got the comedic. I haven't really seen him in anything serious, so I can't really attest to that very much. IMDb. Let's have a look at his IMDb. I know he was in Horrible Histories, but that's about all I know him from. Bill, which was a sort of Horrible Histories type thing. Yeah, I think I could see him in it. I'd probably need to see him in something a bit more serious, because I haven't really seen him in anything other than Horrible Histories, which you can see there. But yeah, maybe. Oh, look, it's almost as if they know what we're talking about. Let's have a look at what they think on IMDb, actually. Martin Freeman, he's too big. Like, all the people they pick are too big. Like, there's no way Martin Freeman, Tilda Swinton, Idris Elba, Kate Winslet, Tom Hiddleston, none of these are going to do it. Matthew Bainton, I could see. Richard Ayoade, I could see doing it, but I just feel like he's a bit, like, I know that he fits the nerd archetype, but I do think the Doctor's more than that. Olivia Colman, I think, would be a good choice. Dev Patel, again, a good choice. Hugh Laurie, I think's too big. Mary Perry. Oh, God. This is why it makes me laugh when the bookies take this seriously, when you've got people like Mary Berry on the list. It's just... I don't know why, but I would love Danny DeVito. Oh, man. Danny DeVito as the Doctor, that'll be the day. It'll probably be a Broadchurch actor. Actually, that might be a good course of action. Let's have a look. Who's been in Broadchurch? Broadchurch... I mean, it's not going to be David Tennant. I think we can count that out. Broadchurch. Broadchurch. I just want to see the cast. Broadchurch cast. Olivia Colman. Yeah, that's not going to be any of these. Charlotte Beaumont. What's she done? It's actually quite interesting just looking through potential Doctors, because it really could be anyone. That's the interesting thing about this. But as I said, I'm just sort of worried for the inevitable day that someone gets announced and it's just a war zone. What else has she done outside of Broadchurch? Hobby City, Doctors, EastEnders, Skins. Yeah, okay, so she's got a decent lineup of stuff. I think it's difficult because, again, you want someone that's big enough to, like, make an impact, but not so big that it becomes, impossible. Obviously, it's not going to be David Bradley. Honestly, I don't really know, outside of, like, maybe Olivia Colman, who else they could do for Broadchurch. Maybe I'd have to watch Broadchurch and see if I see anyone else that's doctory. But a lot of the people who are in Broadchurch are already kind of associated with Doctor Who already, like Arthur Darvill, and Mira Sial here, who played Rani's mum from Sarah Jane Adventures. So yeah, and obviously David Bradley, who played the first Doctor. So I don't really know who else they can realistically pick from Broadchurch, other than Olivia Colman, to be honest. Looking forward to Harry's eating his chair. Look, Danny DeVito will never be the Doctor, or never be in Doctor Who, unless it's a fan-written thing. Like, that doesn't count. No, Catherine Tate was a serious actress before she branched into comedy. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Like, it could be anyone. I've said before, but gosh damn, I'd love to see Michael Sheen. Yeah, Michael Sheen, I think, would be a good choice. I'd love it as well for me, because, it'd be a Welsh Doctor, which is great for me. Jim Howick. Let's have a look at Jim Howick, shall we? What's he done? But yeah, outside of Olivia Colman, I don't really know who else they can pick from Broadchurch. What else has Chibnall done? Because that might... Oh, he's also Horrible Histories. Cool. Let's check Chris Chibnall's IMDb, because that might be another indication of what we could expect. Because I feel like if he cast another Broadchurch actor, people would obviously kind of suspect that. Chris Chibnall... IMDb. Right, here we go. So I feel like he's going to have to reach a bit further into his filmography here, I suppose. Oh, he did the United film. Who's in the Great Train Robbery? Who's in that? Don't recognize any of these people at all. So yeah, I really don't know who he would realistically pick. Rory Kinnear, who was in TV Count Arthur Strong and James Bond. Let's have a look. Rory Kinnear. I can't speak today. I'm so sorry. Rory Kinnear. Let's have a look. Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Yeah, maybe. Again, I feel like she might be too big. I don't know. Let's have a look. I'll have a look at her next. I recognise him, but I don't know what from. Oh, he was in... Okay, he's in the Bond films. Okay. He's in Years and Years. Well, I haven't seen Years. I need to watch Years and Years. Brexit, the Uncivil War. Oh god, there's a movie about Brexit. Oh man. So yeah, he's in a lot of the Bond films. I mean, maybe. I don't know whether he looks a bit too old, maybe? I don't know. But then again, we've had Capaldi, so I don't really know. I just can't really quite see him as the Doctor, I don't know. But it's obviously, this is entirely superficial, I suppose, so I don't really know. For some reason my TV's turning itself off. There we go. Yeah, I don't know whether there's a way of turning that off, that my TV will, like, turn itself off if it thinks it's being inactive. Even though it's not, because it's where my, like, PC, like, outputs to. But, and Andrew Buchan? I'm not saying that right, am I? Andrew Buchan is associated with Chris Chibnall. Let me have a look at him. Wait, who did, Michael Sheen? Yeah, Michael Sheen could be great. He would make total sense. He's like mates with David Tennant as well, so I'm sure he'd get plenty of advice. Yeah, I'd love Michael Sheen, to be fair. Yeah, I can't really see Rory Kinnear. Andrew Buchan. Okay, maybe. Let me have a look through his IMDb here, see what he's done. Okay, so he's in Broadchurch. So that's something that would make him a possibility. I feel like Chibnall will want to go female again, but it's a case of, like, who? Patterson Joseph, Russell Tovey, there's Chris Marshall. Chris Marshall is one of those that is said every time, and quite honestly, I doubt it'll ever happen, and I kind of don't want it to, if only because I don't want the bookies to ever be right about anything, and I don't want them to... Maybe he'll cast himself as the Doctor. Oh god, can you imagine? Like, to be fair, let's be realistic, there would be a temptation for you, if you got control over the show, to cast yourself, and if you had complete control over it, I guess. But, Kevin Clark. Let's look at Kevin Clark. But yeah, point is, whoever the BBC cast, they're kind of in a lose-lose situation, because one side of the fandom or another is going to be up in arms about it. And, yeah, what I'll probably do when the full-length Doctor is announced, I'll make one tweet about it, and I'll do, like, a video about it, and then I'm just going to leave it, because God knows what the reaction will be. I'm trying to copy Kevin. There we go. Yeah, God knows what the reaction will be to the next Doctor, because I feel like the fan base has just gotten so much more volatile since the last one that I just... Kevin Clark. Actor? Who am I looking for here? Because all I can see is articles about a man who... Oh. Wait, hang on. Kevin Clark. What's he done? I haven't seen any of this, so I had no idea. No idea. Lee Pace as well. He'd also be okay. Let me have a look at him. I'll probably know who he is because, there's not that many Welsh actors, to be fair. So yeah, let's have a look at him. And then I think we'll have a little look at what's been going on in the fandom recently. Mainly just, you know, the news, the sort of roundup thing that I like to do in these streams. We're sort of doing it back to front here, but, you know, mix it up a little bit, why not? One of the most versatile... Okay, so he played Groot. Alright, cool. Again, maybe too big if he's been in Groot, if he's been in Guardians of the Galaxy and The Hobbit. But then again, Sylvester McCoy was in The Hobbit, so I really don't know. Obviously after Doctor Who, you know, but still. Yeah, maybe. I haven't really seen him. Okay, so was he also in... I've seen him in something else, but I don't know what. The face is recognisable, but I don't know what from. That's annoying, because I don't know what his face is recognisable from. I have no idea what his face is recognisable from. Probably something like... I have no idea what that's... I'm not gonna... If someone else knows what, like, he's from... What about an Irish doctor? I mean, maybe. Hello, Alternate 13th, how are you doing? I hope you're doing alright. Yeah, no, I have no idea who, that is, so I can't really... Well, other than Groot and The Hobbit, but yeah, no, it's, Yeah, so let's just get into the news in general, of, like, what's been going on, I guess, because there's a couple of things going on. So let's just get into that, I suppose. Now, I'm probably going to have a bunch of notifications, so I apologise in advance for that. But I'm just going to scroll down to where I normally get my news from, which is Doctor Who production news, because, you know, it saves me having to collate stuff. So obviously we had the 10-year anniversary of the Weeping Angel Series 5 two-parter. It's so baffling to me that, like, episodes of Series 5 are turning 10 years old, because I remember those so vividly. Yeah, here's Who Knew stealing my content with Sophie Aldred. Now, I'm just kidding. I'm sure he'll do a great job. Yeah, this was weird. So I don't know whether any of you guys saw this, but a new comic book strip was like, a new comic book was announced. And it's got a striking resemblance to the Joker and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn. I'll see if I can find it. I'm probably not being specific enough. Oh, there we go. It's got a striking resemblance to this, and, like, that dynamic's not the same. The Joker is abusive, the Doctor isn't. So I don't know whether they literally just went, oh, that looks cool, we'll take that. I also sort of like this art of Sasha Dewan's Master, though, that looks good. But yeah, I don't really know why they just sort of stole that. Apparently the new Alex Kingston River Song book is out, so that's cool. Shakespeare Day. What's this about a leak? Oh yeah, this is to do with the Captain Jack episode 2 thing, which we've already covered. 10 years ago today since the Silence first appeared, which is cool. What was your favourite Time Lord Victoria story? This was weird because I remember seeing a screenshot of this exact question on Instagram, I believe, and they were basically all just confused. Wait, yeah, so the replies to some of these are quite funny. Like, I remember seeing one person just saying, when Series 13 coming out, and one person saying, I loved it when the 11th Doctor came on. So yeah, like, no one really got the question. They were celebrating Delia Derbyshire earlier this week. We had the, the date of 22nd of April 2011, which is the end of the world, or the death of the Doctor, if you like. So, yeah. Look, Doctor Who magazine stealing my thumbnail format. No, I'm just kidding. With the silhouetted man as the Doctor. But yeah, that's about it, really. In the way of news. There's not much news recently. I'm building Captain Jack's ship in Lego. But I'm not sure how accurate it is. Oh god, the chat's going so quick now. It's 11 years old. Oh my god, is it? I feel so old. I love Harley. I do not apologise for it. No, that's fair enough. I just don't really think that the dynamic between Harley and the Joker and Harley and not Harley and the Doctor, Harley and the Joker and the Doctor and the Master is the same thing. So it being sort of portrayed that way is kind of strange. Oh, by the way, if you are enjoying the stream, super chatting is a real good way of helping me out. Doctor Who magazine leak video thumbnail thief. Exactly. Oof, it's kind of boring in the fandom, no offense. No, that's fair enough. Like, there's not much going on at the minute. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, man? Um, I am the Joker. Yes, you are, enigmatic Joker. Yes, you are. I read the Doctor Who magazine sometimes. I've been planning on renewing my subscription, but never really did. Oh my god, a voice crack then. Yeah. Um, would be great. He's wait, Peter. I don't know who that is, but he'd be great apparently. So yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on at the minute in the chat at least. Big Man Darius, Series 5 is 11 years old. Yeah, I feel even older now. Hello, GPS Time, how are you? Ooh, fancy meeting you. Oh, I'm guessing you two know each other. That's cool. What else could we... I did see something else that I wanted to talk about, but I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, so Noel Clarke was interviewed by Good Morning Britain, and he was asked if he was the Doctor, and he said no. So, yeah, which, to the surprise of literally no one, I think we can agree. Pearl Mackie in The Long Call, which is interesting. And yeah, some interesting stuff. And there was some rumoured Doctor Who filming, but it turned out to be We Hunt Together. Also, Christopher Eccleston did another interview saying that, quote, "We need more Cyberwomen." In an interview published in the May of 2021 SFX magazine, Christopher Eccleston advocated for greater engagement with the female in Doctor Who. Russell T Davies writes the Doctor as one Doctor, Stephen Moffat writes him as another, Robert Sheeran writes him as another. Bit of a boys' club though, we need to address that. We need some more Cyberwomen, we need female writers, it needs to be addressed, particularly as the Doctor had such a pronounced, for want of a better female, wait, what? But particularly as the Doctor had such a pronounced, for want of a better phrase, female side, and such an enthusiastic engagement with the female. I think the Doctor dealing with the Cyberwoman would be interesting. Two female characters in Doctor Who proved very difficult to fully convert. Yvonne Hartman in Army of Ghosts and Miss Mercy Hartigan in An Ex-Doctor, my first ever episode. Both characters ultimately defied the control of their would-be converters in their own way. I mean, yeah, I kind of don't like how easy it is in the New Who era to just sort of defy cyber conversion, because obviously, again, we had Yvonne Hartman, Mercy Hartigan, Miss Hartigan, and we had James Corden do it as well. So yeah, I kind of don't like how easy that's becoming. A Cyberwoman was the focus of a Torchwood episode written by current showrunner Chris Chibnall. It's unclear whether Eccleston has seen Torchwood episode Cyberwoman, but his comments to SFX suggest Torchwood's more sexualized version is not what he had in mind when he advocates for more engagement with the female. What were they thinking with that? Like, let's just be honest here. What were they thinking? Eccleston described to SFX a Big Finish story he recently recorded featuring a woman particularly cyber converted. We've had this storyline where the Cyberman is not completely cybered up, and the struggle within the Cyberman for empathy and humanity, which was brilliantly portrayed yesterday by an actor called Eleanor Lawless. Okay, that's interesting. I'm guessing that's where it was confirmed that we were going to get a Cyberman story, because I remember that being confirmed by Big Finish as well. But yeah, that's about all that. Yeah, outside of that, there wasn't too much, I don't think. I don't think there was too much, really. Yeah, I don't think there was too much other than that in the way of, I think someone's just taking the dog out. Oh yeah, it was Earth Day. This was funny, actually. This was funny for a very special reason, because obviously Doctor Who tweeted out, people can save planets or wreck them. Wreck, that's the best choice. Be the best of humanity. And what was funny about that is that recently, Doctor Who's come under fire for, NFTs, which are basically, the most unenvironmentally friendly form of, cryptocurrency you can find, because obviously that's what the card game is, which is very funny. Christopher Eccleston to SFX on accepting the role of the Doctor. Okay, so there's more stuff about Chris Eccleston here. To make something that didn't patronise the younger audience, that appealed because we know children are far more intelligent than adults, so I wanted to act for the more discerning audience. Yeah, I really find Christopher Eccleston's views interesting, and I find them interesting mainly because I guess he just says how he feels, and I kind of respect that about him. He doesn't hide. He just doesn't hide how he feels really about anything, which I really appreciate. But yeah, no, I really appreciate that. But I'm going to be back in just a second. Give me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I was just checking on something. Do you think the ratings for Series 13 will go up or down, and why? I'll go big screen for this, because I think we've done in terms of like the news and things. I think they'll probably end up going down, because that is just the natural way of things when a show's been on for long enough. Um, yeah, I think they'll probably go down, and that's not me saying that I want them to go down, but logically they just kind of have to eventually. It's just something that happens, and I think, you know, at the end of the day, when a show's been on for such a long time, that is just something that we have to accept. Will happen, can happen, does happen. Yeah. Quickly steal his chair while they're AFK. Um, Yeah, that word is overused. I agree. Woke is overused. Like at the end of the day, like saying women should be in Doctor Who, I don't think is particularly woke. But you know, because they've always been in Doctor. But like obviously having more, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. But you know, um, yeah, I feel like it can be the vehicle for new stories if done well. I certainly think it can be. Like I've always been an advocate for more. You know, because at the end of the day, I think it'd be really interesting. But you know, see, again, I don't agree that it needs to be a straight white Doctor because, as well, you know, why does the Doctor have to be straight? Because he's barely sexual in the classic show anyway. So I don't really get what being straight has to do with anything. And as for white, again, it really doesn't have to affect the character that much, really. It really doesn't have to affect the character that much, really. Sorry, I think there's someone taking the dog out again. Woke is just a tiring word now, and it's used in the wrong context. Exactly, I feel like people just use that for things they don't like, I guess, and I just find it a bit overused. I mean, yeah, I do agree to an extent that diversity shouldn't be forced, but I also think that at the same time, people exist in real life who aren't white, and I feel like these people do deserve to be shown on screen at the, you know, I think that's just a common thing. I'm not really concerned about Doctor Who being cancelled. I'm more concerned about the BBC failing and the company like Disney would buy the rights. I don't think Disney can afford to acquire anything more because of the sheer size of them already. I don't think they'd be allowed to. I don't think it would necessarily be dead. I mean, it would be different, but I don't think. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to think about something like that because it's just such a nebulous thing. Um, but as well, like I feel like again, I don't really think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think the issue with the current era is that it has diversity or that it has political messages. I think the problem is it's just not written well. I think that's the main issue. I think if it was written well, no one would really have an issue. Like you think about it, yeah, the RTD era has a lot of political messages. Um, the Slitheen episode in series one is literally a parody of the government at that time, but that was written fairly well. Whereas obviously stuff like Orphan 55, where they have a speech into camera about the environment, that wasn't written well. I think it's just more about the writing for me personally. What would Disney even do with Doctor Who? I can imagine. I don't really know because it's just such a, again, it's such a hard thing. Um, I don't really see how they would, what they would even try and do with it because it just doesn't seem like something that they would be that interested in it. I don't think it would have enough of a... Because obviously, look, Doctor Who is big, and it's big for the UK, but realistically, it just doesn't have the same pull as like a Marvel or a, a Star Wars. It's just not that level. I think we have to be honest with ourselves. I don't know whether they would even be that interested in it. I heard that there might be a Doctor Who movie again. Did you hear about that, Darius? A couple months ago. To be fair, there's like every couple of months there's an announcement of a new Doctor Who film, dating all the way back to like the 90s. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. It don't make sense. The thing is though, like, Time Lords have done it before. Missy is a good example. We had Missy change, and people were relatively fine with that. I think again, it just comes down to the writing. I don't really think the act in itself is that bad. I think it's just the way it's been done. That's how I feel anyway. I don't think the Mouse tried to buy Doctor Who per se. I don't think they again. I don't think there'd be enough pull for them to do it. I think the more likely thing would be the people who own Star Trek to buy it, because I feel like they'd have more of a use for it. I guess I don't know who owns them. I think it's is it like Viacom or something? Chibnall's messages are a lot more in your face and less subtle than those in the RTD and Moffat era. Yeah, I agree. Like, that's the thing. I think it just needs to be written better. I do wonder if Big Finish could salvage Jodie's Doctor. Yeah, that's a conversation I've had with a couple of people, actually. Could Big Finish do the work in making her, better? And my issue is, because, like, they did it with Colin, to be fair, but Colin was always a good actor. Like, that was always obvious. Whereas, like, with Jodie, I just don't get that inherent commanding presence from her. So I don't, even if she's written well, I'm not convinced she would do that good for me. But then again, I could be wrong. I'd love for her to prove me wrong. I'd love for her to be fantastic and be great on Big Finish, but I am not convinced until I've actually seen, because there's been moments, but I just, those moments are just so few and far between that I really don't know whether she would be or not. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Jodie's Doctor is already salvaged in every other medium she's in. Yeah, I've heard she's good in the comics, but I mean, I haven't read any of them, so I can't really state that. I think the problem is, regardless of how good a Doctor is in the spin-off media, the impression they leave on TV will always be the one that the majority of audiences come away with, because even now, the Sixth Doctor is consistently at the bottom of Doctor polls, because that is just the impression he left on TV, because at the end of the day, the TV is the thing that is watched more than, because Big Finish, like, as much as we love it, it's a very niche thing. Yeah, exactly. The showrunner for Star Trek is not making good Star Trek, but it's Star Trek, so people will watch it. But that's the thing, I feel like people made the same arguments about Doctor Who, and I don't think that's... Yeah, I think Atomizer's got a point there. They were never, like, that subtle, because if you think about it, Happiness Patrol, when you know the context, is a very non-subtle sort of parody of Thatcherism. But it's done really well, in my opinion, because I think what makes the difference for me is that it's woven into a sci-fi narrative. Like, I think that's why Praxius works better than, say, Orphan 55, was because they did the environment thing, but it was at least woven into the sci-fi concept. I think that's what makes it better for me. If you just have... If the two things are separate, then they don't feel like they're part of one thing. It feels like the showrunner can't make their mind up on what they want to do, whereas if they're, like, woven together, it makes a lot more sense, and I think it can work really well. I just don't think she was the right choice. Yeah, I kind of... To an extent, I agree. I can't help but think she is a bit miscast. I can't help but think that. But then equally, she seems lovely, so I really don't know anymore how I feel about Jodie. It's so hard, isn't it? Because I think we tell ourselves when a new Doctor comes along that we, got to give them a chance, and, it's all going to feel different and new. But, we're going into the third series with Jodie, and if it's not clicked yet, I just don't think it's going to. basically, Clacker, we were just talking about how basically whatever the result is for the 14th Doctor, the fan base will be tearing itself to pieces. We were saying about how Doctor Who can do political stuff, it's just got to be done well. And yeah, that's about it, really. Imagine 13 with glasses. What, like sunglasses? I don't know. Maybe. Do you think Ace should return on TV? Yeah, definitely. Ace is the one companion that I think has the most potential for a spin-off or something like that, because we never really saw how her character ended. Like, Josh Nares recently did an adaptation of the comic where she passes away, but we never actually seen what happens to her after the show, canonically, I guess. So yeah, Ace, I think, for me, is the one with the most potential to come back. If you watch clips of National Theatre's Anthony Gon alongside Eccleston, Jodie has no trouble with her commanding presence, so I have confidence she can do it. I think she's well cast, but had bad content. That's fair. I guess from my perspective, I've never really seen her in anything else. So to me, that's the only conclusion I could come to. Maybe if I did watch what you said, I might find something. But, you know, as of right now, I've only really seen her in that, so I can't really... Like, when you... Because, like, people say to me, oh, yeah, I don't want Jodie to leave because she's good in Broadchurch. I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter if she's good in something else. If she's not good in Doctor Who, then that doesn't really help us for Doctor Who, I guess. I don't know, it's a hard one. All I'm hoping for is the Timeless Child arc to be retcon. I don't think the Timeless Child arc is going to end where it is currently. I think there is more that's going to be revealed in Series 13. That is something that pretty much every leak has said about. Obviously, they've said about it in different ways, but all of them seem to be pretty confident that the Timeless Child arc, where it is now, isn't the end point of the Timeless Child arc. There probably will be more to it. So I think with that, I think we just kind of have to be patient. Old Trek fans that watch new Trek want it to fit into the canon, look exactly correct. If it doesn't, that's why they don't like it. I've never watched Star Trek, and to be honest, I've thought about it, and I get so confused about where I should even start, because I think at least with Doctor Who, there's like defined jumping on points, like, oh, you can jump on with the 9th Doctor, or the 11th Doctor, maybe, or like when a new era starts, basically. But I don't know really where you can jump in with Star Trek, so if anyone's got any advice on that, I'd love to hear it, because I've wanted to get into Star Trek for quite some time. I just don't know where to start, because there's so much of it. Alrighty, I have to depart. Have a good day, Tharians. I'll see you all, alternate 13th. Have a good day, man. Yeah, this is a good time to say, if you're enjoying the stream, again, super chats are an option that you can definitely do. It would really help me out if you can support me, but, you know, you don't have to or anything. The Timeless Child should have been a false reality created by the trickster. I mean, that's the thing. For all we know, it could be something like that. We really don't know. It could be something as off the wall and crazy as that. We don't know. But I definitely don't think that where it is now will be the end point, really. IMO, she's not very good at commanding presence. Take her haunting ability to art speech, for example. It's brilliantly written, but when she says it, it comes across as cringy to me. That's my opinion. That's fair enough. I think for me, actually, the haunting ability of the arty speech is one of the few times that she actually feels like the Doctor to me. Like, she actually has that oomph and that presence for me, but, like, fair enough. I definitely get what you mean, though, because the woman who fell to earth ending speech didn't quite fit right for me. Yes, Starry True Show, and hell yeah. I do believe she was miscast. I can imagine most of the Doctors saying that speech and it being remembered as amazing forever, like the Zygon Inversion speech, but when she says it, it just doesn't feel right. Fair enough. I can't really argue with that. But yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. Just have to wait and see where the Timeless Child arc goes, as it's only the beginning. There's going to be so much more added to probably next series. The only thing I worry about, and I've said this before, I think, but the thing that worries me is that if the Timeless Child arc becomes the thing that they focus on in the 60th, I really don't want that to be the focus of the 60th, because I feel like that should be a celebration of the whole show rather than just this arc. If you could rewrite one Doctor's arc, which one would you be? Which one would you do? Probably 12's, because I feel like it was very inconsistent. I feel like in Series 8 he was dark, and in Series 8 he was dark, and Series 9 he was light, and then Series 10 he was sort of a mixture of both. So I'd make the 12th Doctor's arc more gradual, probably. I know you can jump into any episode of Voyager or Enterprise because they're mostly standalone. I will try and find one I think you will like. Okay, fair enough. Is that because people hate the Thomas Child so much? If those leaks are made up, it could be. You make a good point that it could be just people who hate the Tiles Child and want it retcon. But again, like, you've got to remember, realistically, if Chibnall's got a 5-year plan, that might take him up to the 60th, you know, because it'd be 5 series, I guess, not 5 years. Then we're not even really halfway if he does stay that long. So I feel like this can't be where it ends up that whole time. It would be like it would be like, I don't know, you know, the whole arc about the Doctor grieving over the Time War ending in Series 2. Like, it didn't. It carried on throughout. Would the BBC consider resting the show for a few years if it got lower ratings than the lowest show on TV? I actually think, and I've said this, and this might be controversial, I think Doctor Who is one of those shows that needs a break every now and again. I feel like it's one of those things that needs to sort of come back and excite everyone, like, oh, I remember this, and then go away for a few years and then come back, because I feel like, as is, it just sort of becomes like a commodity, I guess. There's a second version of David Tennant's Doctor in another universe with Rose. Why not do something with that? I'd love to see Tennant back. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the thing is, again, it's kind of my thing where I don't like the fact that they are relying on 10 as much as they are. But I do think that arc, at least they could do something with it. Exactly, it would be shit if the 60th focused on the Timeless Child, like how Day of the Doctor focused on the Time War for the majority of its runtime. I feel like, though, at least with the Time War, like, it was across 2 showrunners, so it didn't really feel like one showrunner wanking himself off as much as it did a celebration of New Who as a whole, which still shouldn't be what an anniversary special for the entire show should be about. However, I would say it's preferable to Chibnall doing an entire 60th based on the Timeless Child. I think the 60th will be more like Twice Upon a Time and less like Day of the Doctor. How so? And the 60th, I have strong feeling the BBC wants Jodie and David to be on screen together. Yeah, I worry that it's just going to be them two, and I kind of don't like that. I think Chibnall is doing Series 13 this year, Series 14 early 2023, then the 60th, and then concluding in 2024 with Series 15. Yeah, put it this way, I don't think Chibnall's going anywhere anytime soon. Regardless of what people say, I don't think Chibnall's going anywhere. I think he is in it for the long run. I think they wanted someone who was going to be in it for the long run and basically see Doctor Who into like the new decade, I guess, i.e. the 2020s. So yeah. Yeah, I do kind of agree that Day of the Doctor kind of shits on the arc. But then realistically, without RTD, I don't know what else you would have done with it. Is it just me, or does Doctor Who feel like Chibnall is writing Jodie as she is any Doctor? Yeah, I get that there isn't much unique about Jodie, and that's something I've always struggled with. I think she needs more to her. And I think that's why people latch on to the very little things we get. Like, people get very defensive when you talk about 13 being socially awkward. And I think that's because people want to latch on so desperately to what they have, basically, because there isn't much else there, I suppose. What do you... can you do me a favour, guys? Can we just leave other YouTubers' names out of the chat in general? Because I just get shit, and I don't want it. I don't want to get involved in shit. So if we could just leave... I'm not a big fan of the person in question, but could we just... Thank you. What do you think the story... What do you think the photos with John Bishop with the man in the black outfit could be for Series 14? Series 13, rather. I think that could be something to do with Time Lords. I reckon, like, he could be a Time Lord mercenary. Especially with the colour of his outfit being sort of black and yellow and obviously or like gold, and we know that gold's a big colour for the Time Lords at the minute. Yeah, that was in Jack Wolf's video, wasn't it, Pacifist? Yeah. I wonder if Chibs wants his era to be controversial. I think undoubtedly the Timeless Child... I think he knew the Timeless Child was going to cause stuff in the fandom to erupt. I think that's why... I think he wanted that discussion. I don't think he quite expected it to be as controversial as it was, but I really don't know. It's hard to say at the moment, I guess. Um, yeah, it's hard to say until I guess we just find out. I suppose I'm just gonna. But yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, at this point, I kind of just want some good stuff. I guess that's really what I want. I just want some good Doctor Who is what I want. I just want a really big two-part Dalek story and make them scary as they used to be in the RTD era. Yeah, I kind of feel like um, they've they kind of missed a trick with Revolution because everyone got excited with the idea that it was going to be the first Dalek invasion story we'd had since like the RTD era, and they don't really invade; they just sort of show up and then leave very quickly. Um, so yeah, it was Channel Pep's birthday last week, so happy birthday at Channel Pep for last week. All three Doctors destroy Gallifrey, offering War Doctor emotional support, still having the curator thing, but it's not explained how they survive. It would allow them to go back to the War Games Time Lords character. Yeah, I think the Time Lords, like if they are going to do something with the Time Lords, they do need to be more threatening. And I guess that is one part of the timeless child thing that I like, is that the Time Lords are assholes in that, because I do think the RTD era had a bit of a tendency to glorify them, and the Time Lords were never sort of seen as good, really. Like in the War Games, they forced the second Doctor to regenerate. In Genesis, they forced the Doctor to stop the Daleks from existing. Um, and in Arc of Infinity and the Three Doctors, they're useless against Omega. So yeah, I don't really think. And then obviously they literally put him on trial in Trial of the Time Lord. So they never were really portrayed as a good thing. So I think I'm down for them being more dicks, basically. I don't think anyone sets out to make something bad. I think what I've always said this. I reckon Chibnall had the idea for the Timeless Child when he was like 15, and he's really wanted to do it, and now he's finally got the opportunity to do it, and he's done it. Um, because like that's why the Morbius Doctors were on screen. The Morbius Doctors is clearly something that's bothered him ever since he was a kid, because he's like, well, are they Doctors? Are they Morbius incarnations? Are they what? And now he's finally got the opportunity to answer that question for himself. So realistically, if you had something you wanted answered from your childhood, you'd probably do it. Like, I don't like what he did with it, but um, I don't like what he did with it. But realistically, if you had that opportunity to do that with your favorite show, you probably would. Um, I do agree. Jo Martin felt very doctorish, and I think she had that spark immediately for me, and I think that's such a shame because she's not the main one, which is why I'm an advocate for her being the next one along, but we'll see. RTD glorified them when the Doctor was fondly remembered. Yeah, that is true. I mean, in the End of Time they are a bit bad, which I do like, but yeah, I guess that is fair. I do sort of like them being a bit more, but again, as well, in Day of the Doctor, they're sort of seen as like the good ones. Whereas it's weird because in Night of the Doctor they say, "Oh, who can tell the difference anymore between Daleks and Time Lords?" Implying that the Time Lords got as bad as the Daleks did during the Time War. But then the only things we really see of the Time War is them getting mercilessly slaughtered by Daleks and them trying to protect children, which isn't anything bad. So I don't really know. I think there's a bit of confusion there about how they're actually meant to be portrayed, I guess. Uh, she clicked for me straight away, though. I agree. Yeah, she clicked for me straight away, Jo Martin. Um, wait, where was the... do you think the low ratings could be due to the traditional method of broadcasting? I think, yeah, TV habits have changed, and that is certainly an aspect. But I do think, though, if the show was better, you would be slightly higher, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? Because Line of Duty recently has been like having like record ratings. So it's hard to really say. But then at the same time, that had a 3-year break. So people were really excited when that came back. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what Doctor Who needs. Maybe it needs that break so that by the time it does come back, people are excited for it. See your GPS time. Yeah, maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it needs that break. Maybe it needs that time off to basically recuperate, come back, and be stronger than ever. I think Chibnall needs to find what he's good at. I think Chibnall's best story has been Ascension of the Cybermen. Okay, interesting. Where the Doctor felt like the Doctor and Cybermen were genuinely scary. Okay, fair enough. I can see how you came to that conclusion. For me, I think his best thing... It's weird, because his best thing to me was always, like, the character stuff. Because the best part of Power of 3, one of his previous scripts, was the stuff with Amy and Rory talking about when they were going to leave the TARDIS. That was always the best stuff, so it's always kind of weird to me that he struggles so much with his own characters. I think maybe he's one of those writers that works better when he's given everything to make the story rather than having to create the stuff himself, which is why he probably wasn't a good choice for showrunner. I think maybe because as well, like, people say, oh, maybe if he just oversaw it and had other people write it. I feel like, though, if you're overseeing a show, you kind of need like a level of creative vision, which I just don't think he had, at least for some of the characters. Like, what was his plan for, like, I don't know, Ryan? He has dyspraxia. His nan is dead. That is about it, really. That's all I know about Ryan after 2 series. Like, he just doesn't quite have that. Like, say what you want about Moffat. Moffat was he got very over-ambitious, arguably a bit too complex for his own good. But at least that was his own vision. Say what you want about RTD, you could say it was cheesy, you could say it was too much of the soap aspect, you could say, it was too romantic, but that was his vision for the show. I just don't feel like Chibnall has that distinct vision that he can put his label on, really. Like, I can't think of a word that describes the Chibnall era that's unique to this one, if that makes sense. People keep defending the Tiles Child, it explains the Morbius Doctors, but it makes more plot holes. Yeah, and the thing is, realistically, the Morbius Doctors need explaining. Like, people have been headcanoning that for years. Did it really need, like, an explanation? I don't know, I don't really feel like that was necessary to do. Like, I know that Chibnall probably wanted to do it, which is why we had it, but was it something that was necessary? I don't know. It's worth asking about that anyway, like whether that was actually something that we needed to see. His companions were memorable, at least. I'm guessing you're talking about Moffat and RTD. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, say what you want about their eras, at least they feel like they are their eras, their interpretations of what this show is. Where I just don't get the idea that... Chibnall's vision is his own, really. I've said it before, it feels very commercial. It feels like all the elements that the BBC wanted distilled into one easy package. Ryan has character development, but no personality or character qualities. Is the development that good, though? Because I feel like it's just the bare minimum again, but I mean, that's me personally. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Point to this stream was just to say that whoever they cast for the 14th Doctor, it's not going to go over well. And I kind of am dreading it. But I mean, maybe it'll go better. Maybe I'm just being worried for no reason, but I just can't see it going that well, I guess. But I mean, I think I'm going to end it now because the dog's barking. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all very much for coming in. Have you seen the latest on r/Doctor Who leaks? Yes, I have, and I'm planning on doing more on them. I'm trying to spread them out a little bit because I don't want to run out of like material, and I don't want to basically run the leaks into the ground. Basically, I generally don't understand people who enjoy Ryan or Yaz's characters. Is absolutely carried by Bradley Walsh's performance. Thing is, though, I feel like even with Graham, like, outside of Bradley Walsh's performance, what else really is there? Like, he's just funny old guy. There's a great video by Joe Brennan which basically dissects why they don't work, and I absolutely agree with every single point he made in that video. So yeah, I really don't know. He should have done an Unbound Universe type thing, maybe, but I don't think he even has like the creativity to do something Unbound, because Unbound is very weird and wacky. Yeah, don't be on Twitter when that announcement happens. I said this, I'm writing one tweet and doing one video, and then I am going off the internet for a couple hours, because God knows what the reaction is going to be like. When the 14th Doctor is inevitably announced, it's probably not going to go over well. Yeah, I agree. I think Graham without Bradley Walsh's performance would just be as like hollow as the other two, pretty much. I genuinely don't. I know I read that. Bradley Walsh would have been a great Doctor. I can't really see him as the Doctor. But yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head off. But thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you later. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Ugh.